Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's write some more Leetcode today. Today we are solving partition array according to given pivot. The problem states that we are given an array nums and an integer pivot, and then we want to put all the elements less than pivot before the pivot, and every element that is greater than the pivot will appear after the pivot, and every element equal to the pivot will appear in between. And the relative order of the elements less than the pivot and greater than the pivot, it should be maintained after shifting the positions of the elements. And we should return nums after the rearrangement. So if you look at this example, the pivot is 10, so 9, 5, 3 will appear before 10, and 12 and 14, which are greater than the pivot, will appear after 10. So now that we have seen some examples, let's get to how we can solve this problem. One way that we can solve this problem is we can use 2 pointers. For the left pointer, we can iterate this way, and whenever we see a number that is less than pivot, we add that number at this index to result, and then we need to increment the left pointer by 1. For the right pointer, we would iterate this way, so in the reverse order, and whenever we see a number that's greater than pivot, we will add that number at this index in the resulting array, and then we need to decrement the right pointer by 1 for the future iterations. And once we have iterate through both, then we will add the rest of the zeros in the middle to whatever the pivot is. So let's go over this example. So first we will iterate this way, looking for all the elements that is less than pivot, which is 10. So first we see 9, so we add 9 at index 0, increment by 1. Then we see 5, we add 5 at index 1, increment left by 1 again. And then we see there's 3. 3 is also less than 0, so we put at index 2, and then we increment the left pointer once again. Now we iterate backwards and look for numbers that are greater than the pivot. So first we see 14, put at index 6. And then we need to decrement this, the right pointer. And now we see 12 is also greater than 10, so we put at index 5, and then we also gotta decrement the right pointer again. Now, with everything from left to right pointer, we need to change these elements in the resulting array to the pivot. So index 3 will be 10, and index 4 will also be 10, and then this will be the result that we return. The time complexity would be O of n, where n is the number of elements in the input array because we need to iterate through n elements. And the space complexity would be O of 1 because we're not using any extra space. So now let's get to the coding part. So first we will set up the resulting array. So it will be 0 times the length of nums. Then we will set the left pointer, and we also need to initialize the right pointer, which would be the length of nums minus 1. And now we can loop through both arrays. We will use this trick called zip. So for I in zip, range of length of nums, so that will be iterating through I, the left pointer. And then the range of length of nums minus 1, comma minus 1, comma minus 1. That will be iterating through J, the right pointer. Let me check if there's any typo. Okay, no, that's good. Alright, so now if any nums of I is less than pivot, then we need to set the result of the left pointer to nums of I and increment the left pointer. So left plus 1. And now for the right pointer, if nums of J is greater than pivot, then we need to set the result at the right pointer to nums of J and decrement the right pointer by 1. 1, and afterwards we need to fill everything between the left and right pointer to the pivot. So while left is less than or equal to right, result of left is equal to pivot and left plus 1, and after that we can return result. Let's see if it works. Okay, perfect. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave it down in the comment section, and I hope to see you all again soon.